Stop the Nazi games indeed. Hallo allemaal, daar zijn we er weer. RHTVLive. We streamen natuurlijk live vanuit het mooie Maastricht in het zuiden des lands. Ja, en we gaan zo de kaart naar voren halen, zoals we elke uitzending doen. Dus laten we ook even Maastricht zien. So hello to you all. We are streaming live from Maastricht, which is in the south of the Netherlands. And of course we're going to talk geopolitics and politics. Ja, dat staat op tafel, mensen. Geopolitiek en politiek. En we gaan eerst even kijken naar Thierry Baudet. Heeft een hele goede speech gedaan alweer in het parlement. So first of all, we're going to watch Thierry Baudet from the FVD, who gave a very good speech about the state of the nation, basically. And he says, why do we have freedom? You know, we got a state that, you know, decides for us the rules and regulations. You know, why do we still have free will? Which is what Thierry is going to ask the parliament.
Voorzitter, waarom is er eigenlijk nog individuele vrijheid? Ja, waarom regelt de staat, die het allemaal zo enorm goed denkt te weten, niet gewoon alles in het leven? Het is een serieuze vraag die in je opkomt als je hoort wat er hier zoal besproken wordt in het kader van het Nationaal Preventieakkoord en het Akkoord voor Gezond en Actief Leven. Zeker, er wordt gesproken over volksgezondheid en allerlei deskundigen hebben zaken geïdentificeerd die in hun ogen niet optimaal zijn voor de fysieke toestand van het lichaam. Suiker, drinken, roken, feesten, drugs, onveilige seks. En op tal van andere momenten hebben we hier ook gesproken over verplicht een autogordel moeten dragen, een helmplicht voor motorfietsen, voor gewone fietsen zelfs, trajectcontroles op de snelweg, rubberen tegels bij alle speelpleintjes voor kinderen. En inderdaad, tussen 2020 en 2022 leefde onze samenleving met lockdowns, mondkapjes en semi-verplichte vaccinaties. Allemaal telkens.
So he's talking about all these rules and regulations, such as a car seatbelt in a car and stuff like that, you know, rubber tiles at children's playgrounds and stuff like that, you know, everything to protect the person.
Dus weer om de veronderstelde maatschappelijke risico's te ondervangen, om het leven van de mensen te organiseren, te optimaliseren. Stel je een wereld voor waarin de overheid mensen verplicht om optimaal gezond te leven. Een wereld waarin ze misschien ook wel gedwongen worden op bepaalde andere gebieden keuzes te maken die in de ogen van experts het beste voor ze zouden zijn. Een partnerkeuze bijvoorbeeld, een studiekeuze op basis van een door...
So he's basically saying, imagine the state, deciding for you what's best for you, right? The good girlfriend, the good job, the good this, the good that, you know, and that he's trying to put that on table, right? Because our government in the Netherlands has become totalitarian. They're everywhere, man. You know, everything that you need to do is seen by government and this and that, you know. So, yeah, Thierry is asking, why do we still have free will when the government does everything for us?
Kunstmatige intelligentie, vastgesteld karakterprofiel. Een match met een baan, een huis. Kan binnenkort allemaal. En moeten we dat willen? Of hebben mensen ook recht op fouten, op inefficiëntie? Valt daar iets voor te zeggen? Toen ik mijn proefschrift schreef en rondliep op de Universiteit van Oxford, was het een bekend gedachte-experiment. En later, toen ik politieke filosofie ging onderwijzen op de universiteiten van Leiden en Tilburg, besprak ik het dikwijls met studenten. Het leek toen vooral een theoretisch idee. Een stel je nu toch eens voor, een wereld in de verre toekomst vraag. Maar het begint...
So Tshechi is a professor, or was a professor in the university, and he did this as a test, see how people react to a totalitarian state and this and that. And imagine that the government would do this, and now we are at that point, right? Imagine that the government, no, it's not imagine anymore, right? It's the government is going to do this. There once was a time where digital money was not real, right? It was science fiction back then. Now we are dealing with digital currencies, right?
Het begint steeds concreter te worden, steeds reëler. Want ja, zoals mevrouw Thiele van de VVD zojuist zei, de samenleving heeft baat bij gezonde mensen. En dat hebben die mensen zelf ook. Geen spel tussen te krijgen. Meer regels, meer aansturing, meer controle. Wie kan daar tegen zijn? Zien we toch niet iets over het hoofd? In onze woeker het leven voor de mensen te regelen. Het argument voor menselijke vrijheid te midden van een steeds verder aanzwellende groep deskundologen en experts die beter weten wat we ermee moeten doen, is best lastig te maken. Toch is het van groot belang om het te maken, omdat ik oprecht geloof dat wanneer we dat vergeten, de beschaving ten einde komt.
So basically he's saying there are all these experts and stuff like that, over-regulating government, and that would be the end of society. People aren't allowed to make any more mistakes and this and that. It's very, very dangerous times that we live in.
Het eerste argument voor menselijke vrijheid te midden van het technocratische argument is dat deskundigen zich kunnen vergissen en dat inderdaad ook voortdurend doen. Zo hebben ze zich op dramatische wijze vergist tijdens corona bijvoorbeeld. Ze kunnen zich vergissen waar het gaat om denkbeelden rondom klimaatverandering en CO2 en stikstof. Het is zoals bekend de mening van Forum voor Democratie dat zo'n beetje alle zogenaamde experts en deskundigen in het moderne Westen zich op zo'n beetje alle onderwerpen vergissen.
So he's basically saying that even the experts make mistakes. During the corona period, they made a lot of mistakes and this and that. So.
Of het nu gaat om biologen die zeggen dat transgenders en non-binaire mensen bestaan. Of om economen die zeggen dat de euro goed zou zijn voor onze welvaart. Of om voedingsexperts die zeggen dat vegetarisch eten gezond is en vlees eten slecht. Dus waarom zou je die experts macht over ons leven willen geven? Liever niet, zou ik zeggen. Hou die experts lekker weg uit.
Why should these experts have say over our lives? That is his question. And he says, rather not have experts, regulating our lives. But this is the facts on table, right? So very, very sad to see what's happening in my country. It's a totalitarian country. Everything is overregulated. There are rules that are, against these other rules. And, there are too many rules, put it that way, right? And it's not only in the Netherlands, it's also in Canada. It's everywhere in the Western society. This is how they break apart societies, right? Make more rules, more totalitarian. This is not what we want. We want freedom.
Het mijne. Maar er is een fundamenteler argument, denk ik. En dat gaat niet over de discussie wat nu precies goede of gezonde keuzes zouden zijn, maar de vraag of de kwaliteit van het leven in zulke categorieën te vatten is. Of dat het leven van een mens, een mens om het Jiddisch te zeggen, misschien niet primair lichaam is, maar geest. Niet primair materie, maar ziel. Geen afgemeten parcours, maar een helder verhaal, een tragedie, een vuur dat wellicht kort wil vlammen, maar dan ook voor altijd in de harten van ons allen herinnerd zal worden. Zou het kunnen, alstublieft, 2 zinnen zo belangrijk voor me. Zou het kunnen dat de moderne democratie, waarin het leven steeds verder gereguleerd wordt door uiterst goed bedoelende regelneven en nichten in haar inspanningen om het leven voor de mensen beter te maken, eigenlijk de kern van dat leven uit het oog verliest? Is het mogelijk dat we een verschrikkelijk pad van sterilisatie van het leven opgaan, waarin met ieder risico ook iedere schoonheid, iedere grootsheid wordt gedempt? Laatste zin. In de middeleeuwen was de gemiddelde levensverwachting 35 en bouwden we kathedralen. Nu is de gemiddelde levensverwachting 75 en bouwen we dit soort dingen.
Ja.
So basically, he said in the Middle Ages, people had an age of 35 and made cathedrals, beautiful works of art and stuff like that. And now we have, buildings such as the Tweede Kamer. We're going to show some images of the Tweede Kamer. Wait. You'll see those images. It's like very, very, very sad to see the building that they, have these discussions in, even though that the new building is temporarily, right? It's still a very, very ugly building. Yeah, so we're going to show that in a few moments.
Geeft toch ook te denken.
Mevrouw Thiele.
Ja, ik zou even graag voor de handelingen opgetekend willen hebben dat meneer Baudet mij op zich goed citeerde met die zin, maar vervolgens daar een conclusie aantrok die hij echt uit mijn betoog niet heeft kunnen trekken.
Ja, dat is juist. Dus de spreker namens de VVD nam een klassieke VVD-tussenpositie in. Dus aan de ene kant de onderliggende argumentatie voor socialisme wel ondersteunen, maar dan vervolgens zeggen, ja, maar we moeten niet betuttelen. Maar eigenlijk, en daarom dat klassiek liberalisme ook altijd degenereert in linksliberalisme, wat altijd degenereert in socialisme, omdat namelijk liberalen nooit het fundamentele argument kunnen maken. Dus met de EU, met de immigratie, met alles eigenlijk.
So you're basically saying the liberals can't make a fundamental statement, right? They have a statement and then they lean towards the left and it goes to socialism and communism even. So that is what Thierry is basically saying.
Dus VVD heb je eigenlijk net precies helemaal niks aan. Dan kun je beter gewoon eerlijk een ras-echte socialist zijn en ervoor uitkomen.
De heer Krul.
Het is altijd een beetje de afweging om hier meer tijd aan vast te plakken of niet. En ditmaal is het vlees zwak en dan kan ik de verleiding dan toch niet weerstaan. Ik zou aan de heer Baudet willen vragen wat voor hem ongeveer de belangrijkste oorzaken zijn sinds die middeleeuwen en die leeftijdsverwachting van 35, dat we nu die hogere leeftijdsverwachting hebben. Als je bijvoorbeeld hebt over wetenschap, over...
So he's basically asking, in the Middle Ages we had the age of 35, that was the oldest age, but now we can be 70. Aren't we more healthy now than back then? That is basically the question he's going to ask.
Over hoe wij met de plaag en dat soort zaken om zijn weten te gaan, toch wel de prachtige ontwikkelingen die we daarin hebben gezien in de medicinale wetenschap, die dat al die levens zo prachtig verlengd heeft, om het zo maar even te zeggen. Is dat niet juist iets heel moois? Of hoor ik de heer Baudet echt zeggen van nou, doe mij maar heel veel kathedralen en een gemiddelde leeftijdsverwachting van 35 jaar?
De heer Baudet.
Ja, ik zou best wel in de middeleeuwen willen leven. Ik denk dat dat een tijd was die op de niveaus die ertoe doen.
So Thierry says, I would want to live in the Middle Ages, very interesting times.
Namelijk het spirituele veel hoger stond dan de wereld waarin we nu leven. En dat relatieve bijzaken, zoals lichamelijke gezondheid en dat soort dingen. ik zou dat willen ruilen voor spirituele gezondheid. Ons volk is natuurlijk is misschien biologisch gezien gezond, maar is geestelijk en spiritueel dodelijk verzwakt. Wij zijn.
So biologically we are still healthy, but spiritually we are broken, you know. And having 10,000 people coming over to the country, that is something that will break the spirit of, you know, the people who live in the country, right? And this is why they do it. This is why they use the migrants to overflow the countries, right?
Hartstikke ziek, zeg maar, geestelijk gezien in onze tijd. Dat zie je aan de massa-immigratie. Welk normaal volk zou 100.000 mensen per jaar toelaten in zijn eigen land? Dat is dus iets helemaal mis. Dat kun je daaraan alleen al afleiden. En dan heb ik het net ook al gehad over de weerzinwekkende moderne architectuur, die toch spreekt tot ieders inzicht dat we ernstig van het pad af zijn in onze brave new modern world.
So he's also talking about the architecture. We found some images of the parliament, right? And let's show the international audience some images of our parliament, even though, you know, it's temporarily. Here we have some images of our parliament. This used to be the foreign affairs thing, you know, for America. It was more diplomatic building for the U.S. And now they moved into this building because the other buildings are having a renovation, right? So this is all happening, and this is the architecture that Thierry was talking about. The Hague is filled with all these ugly looking buildings, and this is the entrance, right? So very ugly looking buildings. And we're also going to take a look at something else within the Netherlands, right? We're still in the Netherlands. And we're going to show you guys some Ukrainians in the Netherlands. Ja, we laten even wat Oekraïense mensen zien in Nederland. Meer dan de helft van de Oekraïners heeft een betaalde baan. More than half Ukrainians have a paid job, but still live for free in the Netherlands, right? So these Ukrainians, they leave Ukraine because otherwise they have to fight in the front lines, right? They leave Ukraine and go to the Netherlands. They can live here for free. They've been doing so for over 2 years now. And, you know, the Dutch people have a very hard time finding housing, you know, because the refugees are the first that get a house, right? So.
Is dat de inmiddels ruim 107.000 Oekraïense vluchtelingen die ons land huisvesten?
We have 107,460 Ukrainians in this country.
Hier gratis wonen en gratis zorg genieten.
Toen 2 jaar geleden de oorlog uitbrak, zijn vluchtelingen hier naartoe gekomen. Er is een speciale regeling gekomen waardoor ze hier mochten verblijven en ook mochten werken. Heel veel Nederlanders hebben toen hun best gedaan om hen te ontvangen. Maar inmiddels zien we dat het beleid aangepast moet worden. Want heel veel Oekraïners zijn gaan werken en dat is heel erg goed. Maar de voorzieningen, dus gratis huisvesting en gratis zorg, die krijgen ze ook nog steeds.
Ondertussen heeft 55% van de Oekraïners in de leeftijd van 15 tot en met 65
55% of Ukrainians between the ages of 25 and 65 have a paid job. That's more than the Syrians that came to the Netherlands. They're still in the Netherlands.
gewoon een betaalde baan.
Yeah, I work at QuickFit. You know QuickFit, change bond. I have contract. I have house. I have friends. Netherlands is very good. Now, thank you, Netherlands.
You get paid also good?
Yeah, it's very good.
I work in cleaning office.
In Poland, I'm working 1 month and going in Amsterdam. I'm working barista in a big office.
Er gaat internationaal rond dat Nederland extreem gul is en dat het hier gratis wonen is. Daardoor reizen Oekraïners uit heel de EU en zelfs uit Canada door naar ons land om hier te werken en gratis te wonen.
So everyone in the whole world knows that you can live here for free, right? We even have Ukrainians coming from America and Canada going to the Netherlands so they can live for free. But I have to pay my taxes and I have to shut up, right? Toch ongelooflijk. There's even a new buildings, you know, new housing, stuff like that, especially for the Ukrainians. Not for the Dutch people that live here, that were born here, that work here, that, you know, do everything here. No, it's for the Ukrainians, because they're fleeing the war.
Wij vroegen mensen op straat wat ze daarvan vinden.
Nee, zeker niet gratis wonen. Ze moeten wel natuurlijk betalen om hier te mogen zijn. Te wonen, dat doen we allemaal.
Ik weet wel dat er panden helemaal zijn ingericht voor hun. Dus dat zijn natuurlijk wel kosten. Maar ik heb liever die mensen als Eritreërs.
Je komt in Nederland, je hebt niks, dan zou je geholpen moeten worden. Maar je zou geholpen in de maatschappij moeten worden. Niet in heel veel geld inderdaad. Wat je zegt, gewoon maar dingen krijgen. Je zou geholpen moeten worden om zelf dingen voor jezelf te gaan regelen.
De crisisopvang in Utrecht, waar Oekraïners zich moeten melden, barst uit zijn voegen. De veiligheidsregio van de Domstad wil niet op beeld reageren, maar verklaart aan Ongehoord Nederland het volgende. We zien dat de populatie is veranderd. Waren het 2 jaar geleden vooral vrouwen met kinderen. Nu zien we veel vaker mannen die ons...
So the city of Utrecht was asked by Ongehoord Nederland about the Ukrainian refugees, and they basically say we see that the population has changed. 2 years ago there were many women with children. Now we see many men, and they tell us they come here for work and for good voorzieningen, you know, for help and stuff like that, you know. Institutions are helping them, but nope, when you're a Dutch person, nope, you're not going to get any help. Right? You have to pay these institutions, and these institutions give stuff for free for Ukrainians and for people from Syria and wherever else. And this is how you break a population, right? Dit is niet eerlijk ten opzichte van de Nederlander. De Nederlander moet keihard gaan werken en die krijgt niks gratis. Nee, die moeten er allemaal voor betalen. Maar die Oekraïners en die Syriërs en die Eritreërs, weet ik wel waar ze vandaan komen, die krijgen alles gratis. It's not fair, you know. The Dutch people have to work very hard, and these people get everything for free. Even though, you know, their country is in a war, right? If you compare the 2 countries, the Netherlands and Ukraine, the Netherlands can fit in Ukraine for 10 times or something like that, right? I mean, we're going to take a look at the map. Ja, we gaan weer de kaart naar voren halen. Dan kunnen we zien hoe groot de verschillen zijn tussen Oekraïne en Nederland. So we're going to compare the Netherlands with Ukraine. So over here we have the Netherlands, right? Very tiny country, very densely populated and stuff like that. And over here we have Ukraine. Now you tell me, which country is bigger? Is it Ukraine or is it the Netherlands? You tell me which country is bigger. 107,000 Ukrainians in the Netherlands. And that's just the Ukrainians, right? We also have the Syrians in the Netherlands. And, you know, also many hundreds of thousands of Syrians. Come on over, come on over. You get everything for free too, right? Just like the guys in Ukraine. Ja. Kom maar mensen uit Syrië, kom maar. Ja, die Assad, dat is een foute gasten. Ja. Kom maar naar Nederland toe. Hier krijg je gratis koffie, koekjes, gebak en ook onderdak. Gratis, allemaal gratis en voor niks. Unbelievable. It's all for free and for nothing, right? But I have to pay. Ja, mensen, dit gebeurt allemaal. We kijken ook even naar iets anders. Namelijk Frankrijk, die dus heel veel troepen wil sturen naar Oekraïne. Of misschien niet. Ja, we weten het niet. So France wants to send a lot of troops to Ukraine or not. We don't know yet. But we do know that France had sent mercenaries towards Ukraine. Right? We do know that. So let's take a look at this here. So, what are French mercenaries doing in Ukraine? RT asked French envoy. So let's take a look at this here. Uncomfortable questions. This was 1 month ago, right?
Que font les mercenaires français en Ukraine? Que font les mercenaires français en Ukraine? Avec nous.
Yeah, you be quiet, right? Because when the French find out that there are French people fighting in Ukraine, they'd be angry. They'd be pissed off. So, and the French are really, temperament. They have a lot of temperament. And we're going to take a look at the Liberty Report, which was talking about Emmanuel Macron being basically the same as Napoleon. So let's see if we can find that out here. Napoleon Macron, let's send NATO into Ukraine. Well, you already have mercenaries there. So we're going to take a look at a few minutes of this here. The Liberty Report.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Liberty Report. I'm Daniel McAdams, filling in for your regular host, Ron Paul, who's out today. Now, some people have been saying, well, is Ron Paul okay? Of course he's okay. He's taking a couple of days off for some business he has to take care of. And by the way, yesterday, neither of us were in. We took a little trip. Let's put up that clip. This is going to be a lot of fun when it comes out. We took a little trip over to Florida. I think you can see what I'm talking about. We had a great talk, great little visit with Tucker Carlson over there. And so everyone should be looking forward to that interview. We'll let you know when we know it's going to come out. So Dr. Paul, I'm sure we'll be back in the saddle very soon. So anyway, I just got a couple of things I want to talk about today. As per the title, Napoleon Macron wants to invade Russia. It didn't go well the last time France invaded Russia. Nevertheless, maybe he wants to send someone else's troops. But put up that first clip, because this is what happened. He called a meeting of European NATO members on Monday, and they were all meeting and visiting, figuring out what we're going to do to help Ukraine win. And he threw out something that, well, it wasn't quite accepted as well. This is from Deutsche Welle News. French President Emmanuel Macron said he does not want to rule out sending ground troops to Ukraine, as defeating Russia was essential to Europe's security. You can leave that up. I'm going to read you pretty much exactly what he said. He said, there's no consensus today to officially, openly, and with the endorsement, send troops on the ground. But in terms of dynamics, nothing should be ruled out. He's adding that allies will do everything necessary to ensure that Russia cannot win this war. So there's a lot of talk about what he said. The idea might be, as floated by Macron, kind of on a bilateral basis, NATO members sending troops into Russia. Well, it didn't go over as well as he had hoped. And in fact, that next picture will show the example of Macron. I love this picture because here's Macron, the tough guy. France's Macron will not rule out boots on the ground in Ukraine. Look how tough he is. He's talking tough. Here's that same Macron a couple of days ago in France when he was at an agricultural exposition, and the French farmers showed up. Here's what he did when that happened. Let's put that next picture on. He's running for the exit. Definitely photo of the day, Macron running away from his own farmers. So
you're a tough guy, huh, Macron? You're a tough guy, huh? Yeah, you're not so tough when you see farmers. You run away. It's like, oh my God, these farmers are after me. Oh my God, I gotta run, man. You know, you are nothing. You are worthless. You are a piece of crap, right? Napoleon tried to invade Russia, right? And he failed. He failed. Don't do the same as Napoleon. You know, Hitler tried to conquer Russia. He failed. You know, but when Macron needs to talk about war, he's tough, right? Yeah, we gotta fight Russia. We gotta fight Russia. But when he sees his own farmers, he runs away like a coward that he is. Coward. I don't see you going to the front lines, Macron or Rutte. I don't see him going to the front lines. No, it's you and me and our neighbors who got to fight, right? Screw you, Macron. All these European leaders, screw them. They're all criminals. Really, really sad to see what's happening. And what's even sadder to see is that Transnistria, which is a breakaway region of Moldova, right? Here we have Moldova. Transnistria is pro-Russian, and Transnistria asked Russia for help. There are like 200,000 Russians in Moldova, in Transnistria, and you know, they're asking for help, right? Because the Russians in Moldova are also being targeted. We're going to take a look at some images of Transnistria. There we go. Will Moscow, well, we just saw, right?
The Moldovan breakaway region of Transnistria has asked Moscow for protection. The pro-Russia separatists accuse the pro-Western Moldovan government of waging economic warfare against them. Tensions between the two neighbours have been rising ever since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The self-proclaimed Republic of Transnistria is a tiny sliver of land located between Ukraine and Moldova and falls within Russia's sphere of influence. It broke away from Moldova during the collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 1990s, but isn't internationally recognised. Well, the request for protection fell short of the request for outright annexation by Russia that Moldova and many in the West had feared. Back in 2006, Transnistria actually organised a referendum on joining the Russian Federation, which met with overwhelming support, with more than 97% voting in favour. However, Moscow chose not to recognise the vote and didn't act on the request. Well, Moldova has dismissed the claims that it's waging economic warfare on Transnistria and called the separatists' appeal for protection propaganda. Relations between Moldova and its breakaway region are complicated by the role of Russia. Moscow has around 1,500 troops permanently stationed in Transnistria on what it calls a peacekeeping mission. The Moldovan government says its military presence is illegitimate and has called for the withdrawal of Russian forces. It's repeatedly accused the Kremlin of trying to destabilize the country. Russia hasn't yet responded to the request for protection, but it accused the West of trying to turn Moldova into a second Ukraine. Here's Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova.
NATO is stubbornly trying to mould the Republic into a second Ukraine, contrary to the mood of the majority of the Moldovan population, and apparently without thinking about the consequences of this for the country and for the region as a whole.
Anastasia Pochomban is from the German Council on Foreign Relations. So welcome to DW. What's being reported is that this tiny breakaway region of Moldova, which is right next to Ukraine, has appealed to Russia for protection. Could you take us behind that bold statement of facts?
Hi, yes, sure. It has been a very intense day in Moldova. Everyone has been following the developments and statements from Tiraspol. So maybe to go a step back, where does this come from? The Congress of Deputies that took place today comes a lot on the background of the worsening economic situation in the Transnistrian region, and also after Moldova eliminated custom duties exemption for companies from Transnistria, which has started from 1st of January. So now the same custom duties apply for the both right bank of the Dnistru River companies and left bank of Dnistru River. So on the background of this economic situation, we also see more developments happening, and the expectation from this Congress, just to come back, there were like a lot of speculation on what to expect about this Congress. However, I would actually say that the message that came was quite moderate, and it did not make reference to the integration of Transnistria in Russia.
So we have that going on, right? Transnistria is a breakaway region, as I told you, and it's maybe going to be a new chapter in the war of Ukraine, right? Because it's basically the same as what's happening in Ukraine, but then on a smaller scale, right? So here we have Moldova, and Transnistria is right smack in between Moldova and Ukraine. It's a very long region, Tiraspol and stuff like that. That is Transnistria. Let's see if we can, Transnistria, there we go. Doesn't really specify, but Tiraspol and this whole border over here, that is Transnistria. So basically the same is happening, and in the beginning of the war in Ukraine, we also saw a radio station being blown up in Transnistria, right? And other stuff happening over there, which gives a lot of questions. What really happened, right? We also saw a missile coming into Poland, and there were speculations that it was a Russian missile, but it was a Ukrainian missile all the time. So the fog of war, and very hard to see what's really happening. But we're doing our best to explain. So we have that going on, right? We have the east of Ukraine, big war. Now the east of Moldova, maybe, it's a hot spot, put it that way. We also have Serbia and Kosovo, right? Kosovo is a region within Serbia and basically got its autonomy after the Yugoslav war, and Serbia does not want that. Now Kosovo wants to join the EU and wants to have their own EU currency, and Serbia does not want that. And that will also, it's a hot spot, right? May explode with all sorts of stuff going on. We got large amount of NATO troops in Kosovo, so it's not far from Ukraine, and there's so much happening. And I'm trying to explain this calmly, but I can't be calm anymore, It's really, yeah. We're going to take a look at another thing here that I found, if we can find it again. Oh, well. This is very interesting. We kind of lost it, but anyway, let's see if we can find it in the history. Bigfoot footage. No, that's not. Here. Oh, we already played this one, right? This year.
Really been stoked, but
this is about Transnistria, right? Which I was trying to explain.
This video was brought to you by Incogni. Today, Moldova's breakaway Transnistria province calls for Russian protection. Germany nearly shoots down a US drone by mistake, and China pushes ahead with an even tougher Hong Kong security law. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Thursday the 29th of February. Politicians in Moldova's Kremlin-backed breakaway region of Transnistria have appealed to the Russian President Vladimir Putin to protect the 220,000 Russians living in Moldova against pressure from Chisinau. Now, this appeal did stop short of directly asking Moscow to integrate Transnistria into Russia, as had previously been speculated. Since 1992, after the Soviet Union's collapse, ethnic Russians and Ukrainians in Moldova's Transnistria region feared marginalization as Moldova pivoted towards Romania and away from Russia. After a short conflict, Transnistria gained de facto sovereignty and has functioned as an unrecognized independent state, maintaining close ties to Russia. Transnistria also has a Russian military presence, receives Russian financial subsidies, and uses Russian as one of its official languages. Now, the situation hasn't actually changed that much since 1992, and tensions haven't really been stoked. But since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, things have changed. That's because there have been fears in the West and Moldova that the Kremlin could use Transnistria to open a new front in the southwest of Ukraine in the direction of Odessa. To deter Russian influence, Moldova was granted EU candidate status in 2022, and in December last year opened accession negotiations alongside neighboring Ukraine. Right after, however, Putin signed a decree that simplified Russian naturalization of Moldovans, Kazakhs, and Belarusians, making it easier for Transnistrians to get Russian citizenship. In fact, Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister, Mikhail Galazin, has warned Moldova that any attempt to resolve the Transnistria issue by force will be considered an attack on Russia. For their part, the EU has stated that Moldova does not need to resolve Transnistria's status to join the bloc. Yet, the Moldovan government since January has arguably taken actions to start integrating the breakaway region back into Moldova. For instance, Moldova introduced new customs duties on January 1st, 2024, which stirred up some controversy by requiring import duties from Transnistrian businesses. These new customs duties leveled against Transnistrians have angered officials there, who say that the measures harm local residents and businesses. Protests soon erupted, and the breakaway state's government has accused Moldova of starting an economic blockade. Moldova, however, has repeatedly denied putting pressure on Transnistria and accused Russia of taking advantage of the situation and destabilizing the region. Former Moldovan Defense Minister Anatol Sala outlined that Russia's aims are to take control of Moldova and block Ukraine from the western flank, then to block Moldova's collaboration with Romania and Moldova's accession to the EU. Therefore, Western leaders are undoubtedly paying very close attention to how the Kremlin will respond to Transnistria's request and what could happen next. There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe.
What could happen next? Who knows? It's, the war is expanding. We also saw this during the Syrian civil war, right? We also saw the war expanding over there into Lebanon and parts of Turkey and stuff like that, even Iraq, right? So this is all happening, and we're just here to give the news. Even though it's very, very hard news to tell every day, but still we are here, and still we are streaming. We're also going to show some footages of Gaza, right? There was humanitarian aid that went into Gaza, and 70 plus people got shot and killed when they were going to the humanitarian aid. Israeli massacre of Palestinians waiting for Gaza aid trucks. Very, very sad to see. These people are, supposed to be alive, but they got killed. They got seen as an enemy, and 70 plus people have died.
رحنا ناخذ المساعدات. يعني انا لي من الساعه 2 الظهر من امبارح، الساعه 4:30 الفجر دخلت المساعدات، صار اطلاق نار علينا على طول، مجرد ما وصلنا الشاحنات المساعدات صار اطلاق نار. ليش طيب؟ فخ وقعنا فيه. ليش طب هيك؟ ما دام بدكم تطخوا علينا، ليش بدكم لنا مساعدات؟ الدول العربيه احنا من ناس الدول العربيه.
والله هذا ما كنا نخاف منه صراحة، أن نخرج عن الخدمة وتأتي هذه الأعداد الضخمة من الجرحى والمصابين والشهداء. كما ترى نعمل الآن بنظام البطارية، نظام الشحن، لكن أغلب الحالات ستحتاج إلى تدخل جراحي وإدخال غرفة عمليات. لا أعلم بل سنعمل صراحة. الموقف كما ترى الخلف مصيبة صراحة.
احنا نجيب الطحين، واحنا بنجيب الطحين طخوا علينا اليهود. بس بخوني في رجلي. مش قادر انا.
بالطريقه هذه بدناش مساعدات بالمره، بدناش مساعدات، لان المساعدات هذه تطلع بجزرتها وصارت. انا عارفه.
Yet another mother who loses his or her son. Very, very sad to see that this is happening. And we are speaking out. We do not want this. Right? We want peace. Whether it's Ukraine, whether it's Gaza, whether it's Sudan, whether it's the Congo, we want peace. That's what we want. Right? Very, very sad to see what's happening in and around our beautiful planet. And yeah, there's so much more to say, but I'm at a loss of words because doing this for free, for nothing, and for free. Just giving you guys updates of what's happening in the world. It's like looking into the pit, right? You must not look very long into the pit, otherwise you'll be part of the pit. He'll take you over. So, yeah. I wish there was someone else who would do geopolitics, but there aren't many people willing to do this, and I am, because it's my planet too, right? My planet too. So, and we want peace, we don't want war, right? So last time we were talking about Armenia and the Russian Caucasus. Very interesting what's happening over there. Armenia is basically choosing the side of NATO because they were not protected by Russia during the Azerbaijan crisis, the breakaway state of Nagorno-Karabakh, which was not protected by Russia. And now Armenia is like, okay, CSTO, maybe we need to go over to NATO. So we covered that yesterday, and there's a lot more to cover, but we will be back tomorrow, which is a new day and new things happening, right? We're also going to take a look at something I showed you guys yesterday. Bigfoot. Now, is Bigfoot real? Is he really real? Or she? Who knows? There is a chance that Bigfoot is real. And we're going to look at the Patterson film, one of the very first films of Bigfoot. And you guys tell me, is she real? Now, there's also something called the Sierra Sounds. Sierra Sounds. There you go. Let's see if we can. I believe it's this one here.
We're in for a night view. is.
So there are some weird sounds you hear. You even hear these people talking back to the Sasquatch. You know, Sasquatches, there are more. Very, very interesting. But still not found on film yet. Well, there are some Bigfoot footages. Let's see if we can find some good footage. There's Todd Standing, who's a Bigfoot researcher. Let's see if we can find some clips of these mysterious creatures. So basically, people are like, nah, come on, that's a bear. That's a bear, man. It's not a Bigfoot, it's a bear. Well, is it a bear? I don't think so. So we're going to take a look at the images one more time. That is not how a bear moves. I've seen bears quite up close, right? I don't see any ears and stuff. So that is a Sasquatch, even though lots of people still say, nah, it's a bear, man. It's a bear. Not a bear. So you may deem me as a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but these creatures are very, very smart. And we may learn from them someday. Anyway, we're going to close off with Ollie the Octopus, of course. And you're paying attention now, aren't you? I hope you are.
This is the scene over South London. I'm here in Fulham.
This is South London, right? There was riots in London, 2011. People were killed and, by cops, and people were asking questions and didn't get the answers. And then the riots came. And now you have Boris the Snake Johnson as mayor of London, who went to one of the boroughs to say we have to clean up this place.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's come out here today to volunteer to help clean up the mess of last night. Thank you. You are the true spirit of this city.
In the streets of London, the peace has been disturbed. Fires burning everywhere, the language of the unheard. There's a generation thwarted with no ownership and pride, and fat cats with bellies as wide as the rich and poor divide. A broken social contract, bottom up austerity. Oh, we can condemn it, but we're paying attention now, aren't we? Blame it on the hoodies, blame it on the feral youth. But remember, you were young once and you cared about the truth. We sold out to the free market, made a couple of billionaires, and all we got was this mess and McDonald's everywhere. Keep unemployment high, keeps the cost of labour low, keeps young men out on the streets, and well, what do you know? Down to Dixon's, you can take some stuff for free. You can get an Apple Mac and a high-def TV. But if you work in Canary Wharf in a bank too big to fail, there's much better looting going on, and you don't have to go to jail. Steal from a generation for the pockets of a few, but it can only go so far, and you're paying attention now, aren't you? London, the peace has been disturbed. Fires burning everywhere, the language of the unheard. There's a generation thwarted with ownership and pride, and fat cats with bellies as wide as the rich and poor divide. A broken social contract, bottom up austerity. Oh, we can condemn it, but we're paying attention now, aren't we? Blame it on the hoodies, blame it on the feral youth. But remember, you were young once and you cared about the truth. We sold out to the free market, made a couple of billionaires, and all we got was this mess and McDonald's everywhere. Keep unemployment high, keeps the cost of labour low, keeps young men out on the streets, and well, what do you know? Down to Dixon's, you can take some stuff for free. You can get an Apple Mac and a high-def TV. But if you work in Canary Wharf in a bank too big to fail, there's much better looting going on, and you don't have to go to jail. Steal from a generation for the pockets of a few, but it can only go so far, and you're paying attention now, aren't you?
Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. We still have one thing on table, right? And very, very important. We have the ICJ talking about the Gaza situation. So we're going to take a listen to this for a few minutes, and then we're going to close.
Mr. President, distinguished members of the Court, it's a great honour and privilege to appear before you and to represent the League of Arab States. The Palestinian people have been denied the exercise of their legal right to self-determination through the more than century-long violent, colonial, racist effort to establish a nation-state exclusively for the Jewish people in the land of mandatory Palestine. When this began after the First World War, the Jewish population of that land was 11%. Forcibly implementing Zionism in this demographic context has necessarily involved the extermination or forced displacement of some of the non-Jewish Palestinian population, the exercise of domination over and subjugation, dispossession and immiseration of remaining non-Jewish Palestinians, the emigration to that land of Jewish people, regardless of any direct personal link, and the denial of Palestinian refugees the right to return, all operating through a racist distinction privileging Jewish people over non-Jewish Palestinian people. This has necessitated serious violations of all the fundamental Jos Kogan's and erga omnes norms of international law. The right of self-determination, the prohibitions on aggression, genocide, crimes against humanity, racial discrimination, apartheid and torture, and the core protections of IHL. Today, I will address, first, violations of international law arising out of the regime of racial domination, apartheid, perpetrated against the Palestinian people across the entire land of historic Palestine. And then, second, the existential illegality of Israel's occupation of the Palestinian Gaza Strip and West Bank, including East Jerusalem, since 1967. As a necessary prerequisite, I must begin with this special right granted to the Palestinian people in the League Covenant. The legal right of self-determination of the Palestinian people originates in the sacred trust obligations of Article 22 of the League Covenant, part of the Versailles Treaty. Palestine, an A-class mandate under British colonial rule, was, after the First World War, supposed to have its existence as an independent state provisionally recognized.
Which never ever happened. Ja mensen, we gaan er weer vandoor. Doei doei. En we zien ons morgen. Bye bye. See you guys tomorrow.